Alright, so 9-month video, part 2. So we're looking at these sharks and so forth here. So getting back to plans for the next 3 months up to the 1 year mark and outputting. So I think shadowing is something I'm going to leave till about the 18th month mark. I really didn't want to do it until I was fluent. But I think I've talked to people that have done it specifically, and your comprehension level, I think if you've listened enough, it's fine. You don't have to be, understanding 98% of adult content to shadow. And I think the trade-off is better than just starting to go on iTalk. You're starting to output without having that feedback on the other way. So basically giving you that feedback on if what you're doing is right, because you're gonna basically, you may not know all the grammar structures, and I think shadowing somebody that you like to talk as or talk similar to, you learn that, and then with Chinese you need to really pronounce the words accurately. So so that'll be 18 months. I mean, that's 9 months from now. So the other thing is the monolingual transition, as I mentioned. Basically, the last things to do is to get it up over 90% so that I could use it with my immersion. And lately I've been doing books. I've been doing the Mandarin corner dialogues, which like I said, this issue with Chinese is you get to about 90% comprehension, and then you're into the world of 5K to 30K frequency vocabulary, right? So at some point, there's some discussion online about this. At some point, you're going to want to start learning more characters to get you up to 4,000 rather than words, because the way the Chinese language works is there's a lot more of these two-character combinations that give you a slightly different, slightly nuanced word of, let's say, movement or action or work, and there's maybe 30 or 40 ways to say that. And when you're going to be reading books, there's a perpetual problem. You may know 10 or 20, 15 or 20,000 words, and you're still not even at 98% comprehension. And they've discussed this online, and the real solution is, you're not going to add Anki cards until you're at 30,000 words. One solution is, of course, domains. That helps you a little bit, right? So domains will be able to, and that's what I'm doing. So the first domain that I picked, so the monolingual dictionary has been mentioned as a domain, and that's definitely a factor. But we're also going to do basically housing, garden, home, remodeling, renovation, and land, and stuff like that. So that kind of vocabulary, because that's really the only visual content on YouTube that is kind of cool. I like it. There's the slice of life content, and that's suitable for Japanese. I don't know any slice of life Chinese shows that frankly I would watch for more than 10 minutes. So hopefully someone can comment on that, and maybe there is, but that's what I've chosen. So so basically we'll wait until we get to 98% comprehension on that, and I think it's going to take a while. It's going to take 3, 4, 5 months probably. And the initial part is basically to kind of use reading as your gauge, and then work your listening up. I think it's going to take a long time to stay in that domain. Our mind's going to wander, I have a feeling. So, but I'll do the best, see what happens. And so that's the plan. And then to get the monolingual dictionary onto the Kindle. The other thing is for the Migaku web browser extension and watching the Netflix. There's no support for Chinese yet, but there should be within a month, by the end of this year. So super excited about that, because the colloquial vocabulary is something that I'm definitely liking, and I think once you're really comfortable with the language, that can be picked up pretty quickly. You just have to, be in a real life situation, but either that or at that point watch some of those shows. But that's not the first domain that I'm going to do, so-called slice of life colloquial vocabulary. And if your goal is to speak earlier, that's probably a good domain to do. But so we're gonna see how that goes. So this is a new mall that opened up here. There's no indoor seating. There's they're losing money like crazy. I spoke to the owner of this cafe, because they have no table seating, and the mall in general.